ADA Cardano price prediction.
Let's get into it.
So today, guys, we're going to be talking all about Cardano and specifically the ADA coin. We'll be giving our thoughts and predictions on where we think ADA is likely to go during 2021, early 2022, and this particular bull run that we are in right now. We're obviously going to talk a lot about some of the functionalities not yet released on Cardano's ecosystem and why our price prediction is, where it is. I think this thing has true potential. The entire Cardano ecosystem is definitely something special and something you want to be paying attention to. We've kind of spoken about this project numerous times in the past, so do check out some of those previous videos if you want to know a little bit more about what Cardano is and what it's trying to achieve. Now, as we get into this video, guys, if you do find it useful and informative, hit that like button. We both really do appreciate it. And of course, if you happen to be new to the channel and you'd like to stay up to date with all those new cryptocurrencies, the hidden gems, the technical analysis and news, then why not become a subscriber? By subscribing, you will be kept up to date with absolutely everything we do here. It is free, you'll stay well informed, so why not? Right, Chris, anything else that you want to add before we jump on down and get into everything Cardano?
So just a couple of things, Nick. Don't forget you can delegate your ADA using the ticker Cheek. You can do this through all the various ADA wallets. We've got 1,115 unique delegators who are delegating over 12.3 million ADA to our pool. The pool is averaging about 6.16%, which is above average. So jump in our pool and earn yourself a passive income. With that said, I'd also like to just get you guys just to let us know in the comments below what you think the price is going to be for ADA come the peak of the bull run. Really interested to know.
Yeah, really interested. Let us know in the comments, where do you put Cardano's ADA's price at? That'd be really fantastic. Yeah, let us know below. Right, let's jump on down, Chris, and get into everything Cardano and specifically ADA. Okay, guys, we're going to start with this piece here first. This is actually on CoinMarketCap. It's something that we've covered previously. We did a whole video around 100 companies shifting from Ethereum over to Cardano. So something that Charles Hoskinson spoke about recently. I say recently, it was 2021. I think this has happened back in March at some point. But basically, he was talking about how there are over 100 companies wanting to shift from Ethereum over to Cardano. And this is a massive play because ultimately, everyone thinks of Ethereum as the number one kind of platform for smart contracts, and it has done a fantastic job up until now. However, there are some fantastic projects that are actually delivering higher throughput, much cheaper and affordable ways of actually executing smart contracts without the problems that you currently see with Ethereum. So whereas lots of people have potentially been building on Ethereum, and there are people like Polkadot, we've got 𝗗𝗄𝗪, we've got Cardano that also offer smart contract functionality. Now with Cardano, it hasn't actually launched yet, but there's lots of hype around it, specifically because of how it's being developed. It's been built from the ground up and hasn't had any of those issues with copies and forks of different pieces of code. This is completely rewritten, and he's actually really thought about how he wants to structure this, and he's structured it in such a way that it really does make this a serious competitor to most blockchains out there. And potentially above and beyond that, it's actually kind of built more for government use and for running countries than it is just about running specific dApps. Now, with that being said, 100 companies shifting from Ethereum to Cardano has a massive implication to Cardano's market capitalization, but also the ADA price as a whole. Now, we haven't seen these 100 companies pull over yet, and that's because the smart contract functionality is not yet available on the mainnet, but that is coming really, really soon. So what we're going to talk about is one company specifically, which is all over Reddit, and this actually comes from an AMA way back in April, and this was Celsius. Now, Celsius in an AMA with Cardano's Charles Hoskinson, they were talking about maybe, experimenting around with Celsius on the Cardano ecosystem. Now, for those who do not know, Celsius is basically a fantastic application, decentralized way of managing your money and your cryptocurrencies. You can earn passive incomes, you can lend via that particular application, and as a result, fees do build up on Ethereum. Now, all those fees are currently being paid for by Celsius themselves, so users don't actually have to swallow the fees associated with using Celsius app. Now, obviously, that's great for users. Users don't have to worry about those Ethereum fees, but not so great for the business owner, who is actually having to swallow millions upon millions of dollars in fees based on Ethereum. Now, this is a problem not only just for the business owner who's potentially paying these fees, but also those fees are having to pass on through to users via basically reducing yields that you can earn on Celsius, and also potentially, having other kind of limitations. So by taking Celsius and actually putting it onto the Cardano ecosystem, not only is the owner of the business, Alex, actually able to basically save a fortune by not paying so much in fees, he's also able to pass a lot of that back onto users. So you'll be earning even more yields from your cryptocurrencies. So it's a win-win situation, right? So this happened back in April, and this is a pretty interesting partnership that I could see happening in the future. Once that smart contract functionality is actually out on the Cardano ecosystem, I would be very surprised if Celsius does not actually jump on over and get involved with Cardano's ecosystem. So want to just kind of really point out there, this is something that happened a little while ago. Sometimes people can forget about these things, but this is a really important one, as ultimately Ethereum has a few, not many, but a few really big players that actually run dApps on there that actually contribute a large amount to the Ethereum fees, and obviously the way that Ethereum currently runs. There's loads and loads of smaller dApps out there that do not actually have the same kind of throughput or uses as some of those really big players. So if some of those big players were to effectively pick up and move over to Cardano, that's a huge hit to Ethereum. And we've been saying this a while, how there's so many sharks basically circling the Ethereum network at the moment, and they really need to sort out getting Ethereum 2.0 across the line ASAP. Otherwise, they're going to lose a significant amount of market share. So an interesting one just to pay attention to. Now, what does this also mean? Well, it's all about the Alonzo hard fork, basically. Okay, so the Alonzo is ushering in the smart contracts, and we've seen this recently actually launch on the testnet. This is another milestone for Cardano, as it's going to be debugging anything that kind of crops up on that testnet, and then we're going to see this actually roll out onto the mainnet. And once we have that rolling onto the mainnet, we'll see some of those projects, those companies porting over from Ethereum over to Cardano. But of course, it doesn't end there either. We do obviously see some fantastic things going on with brand new projects being built on Cardano as well. So you can start to see this thing really ballooning up massively in a very short space of time. There's loads of people who are early adopters, and we've seen this back in 2020 and also during 2021 so far. Cardano has been called all sorts of names under the sun, such as a ghost chain, etc. But would you invest in Amazon as it is today, or Amazon when it was only selling books, having that kind of visionary and thought to see where it could go in the future? For me, I'm an early investor. I like to see the future potential of projects and get in under calculated risks. So for Cardano here to finally be ushering in Alonzo onto the testnet, it's a first step milestone towards getting that smart contract functionality, which will see a whole host of dApps being built on the ecosystem itself. So this is absolutely massive news. Now, of course, we obviously have the whole Africa piece that we also have to puzzle into this, where we are running an entire country, Ethiopia, based on the Cardano ecosystem. Admittedly, it's starting out with education, which we'll see about 5 or so million people actually onboarded onto the ecosystem with Prism IDs, right? So a fantastic use case for Cardano, and is going to be tested at scale. But of course, when you're testing things at scale, you need something that's absolutely going to be scalable with it. So here we obviously have Hydra and the scalability solution that's going to be put into a prototype later this year. This is going to see such high throughput that it puts everything else to a bit of shame. If we think about how Ethereum is today with only 30 transactions per second, and potentially Ethereum 2.0 that's been delayed to, I think, late 2022, this basically does tell us that Ethereum 2.0's 100,000 transactions per second is actually quite small and is insufficient for what you're trying to do at scale. If you want mass adoption, you need something like Hydra here, which will have a throughput of about 1 million transactions per second. That's the kind of scalability that you need to run countries. And so we can start seeing some fantastic things actually happening in here, right? So we see companies wanting to move from Ethereum over to Cardano. We see Cardano really pushing through and working, methodically at getting the smart contract functionality on the testnet to the mainnet. And obviously in the background to that, you have Plutus, which is all the coding side of things and the languages. We obviously have Yella, etc. And then obviously, of course, you have the Hydra scalability solution, which also then means you can have high throughput for all of those dApps that are going to be built. This is gearing up for something absolutely massive, guys, and there's no way to kind of hide behind it, but it does obviously show that we have some pretty bullish kind of expectations of what this thing can do going forward. And obviously, as associated with all this functionality and all this mass adoption that the IOG team are working on, kind of means that your price expectations have to go along with it. So as we get into this charting, we're going to talk about what our price expectations are for Cardano. And obviously here, this is Cardano to the USDT. This is the daily chart, and Binance is the data source. Let me just make this a little bit bigger for you. So here we can obviously see this daily chart is quite squished up, and we can see lots of kind of things going on in the space. We obviously do have a bit of a downward trend at the moment. This is mainly caused by Bitcoin's recent correction to about $30,000. As a result, it did pull the rest of the market down with it. But obviously, as we've spoken about on many of our videos so far, how we take a look at the stock to flow model, we take a look at Bitcoin's dominance, and we take a look at the entire market as a whole, and we realize that we're about halfway through this bull run, and actually this has happened time and time again during each of the previous bull runs as well. So we're not phased by it. This is just an accumulation zone, and obviously we can argue that Elon Musk is helping to push things down a tad to get back into maybe Tesla's buying zone for all we know. No, we can obviously speculate till the cows come home as to why Elon Musk is so interested in Bitcoin and trying to push the price down, but we're not going to talk about that in this video. All we're going to say here is the price has come down, we've accumulated more, and we're able to see this price potentially moving to the upside during what I'm going to call the fifth wave. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to zoom out and get into what exactly what I'm talking about there. So here we obviously have our chart. This is really zoomed out, so I'll try to make this legible as best I can. But basically, during March of 2020, we obviously had the crypto crash. I think most people are familiar with this. And this was a fantastic buying opportunity for many altcoins, including Cardano's ADA. Down here, you were able to pick this up for 1.7 cent, which would have been a phenomenal price. But if you're only really looking at the market back in March of 2020. It was at this point in time that I believe that we actually started an Elliott wave, or 5 wave, right? And wave 1 starts here from that crash, and it actually peaked up here in July of 2020. I think a lot of people could remember what June, July, and August was like during 2020. There's some fantastic highs for cryptocurrencies. We had various different influences around the space calling all sorts of wild numbers. And obviously that led into wave 2. Wave 2 is the correction wave that follows from wave 1. And here we can obviously see this getting pulled down and actually bottoms out at the approximately the 20th or 18th of September. Okay, and it's at this point here that we actually go into the third wave, which we've recently kind of completed. Okay, this third wave actually rides all the way up the top here to about May. And then has this pullback that we're seeing right now. And we're thinking this has bottomed out because it's been approximately 40%, which is what you would expect from a fourth wave. Okay, so it's been a little bit heavier than that. It could go a little bit lower, but I do think that's approximately where it's likely to be. And obviously from here, we can see wave 5. Now, wave 5 in my projection is about $10, but it's every possibility here with some of those fundamental things that we've been talking about that are outside of the technicals that could see this thing potentially go even higher. We have the Fibonacci retracement tool indicating $7.20, but I do feel that a little bit higher than that, and $10 is a pretty safe bet by my by my expectations. So in my opinion, I think $10 is a pretty reasonable level, but it could of course go into something much more. It could see a $15 or even $20 Cardano, and it may even push a bit even further beyond that, depending on how the holders of Cardano actually start interacting with it. So at the moment, this is the world's most decentralized cryptocurrency, and it's as such because of staking and delegating. The more that gets delegated, the more it goes out of circulating supply, and therefore any new purchasers are looking to snap up any of that remaining supply that's out there, and as a result of high demand and low supply, the price will increase. The question becomes, how many Cardano ADA holders are there with diamond hands that could start seeing this price actually rapidly increase? So the more people that actually withstand selling and actually hold, the higher the price is likely to go. So right now, we obviously have this 5-wave Elliott theory in place. We have somewhere between $7.20 and $10 as an expectation at a pretty basic level. And if things really kickstart well towards the end of the year, we have lots of stuff going on with smart contracts. These 100 companies do move over from Ethereum. A whole host of new applications are built on Ethereum, on the Cardano ecosystem. We're going to start seeing this price rapidly rise from its current position of $1.66. This is going to be a fantastic catalyst for seeing some significant change when it comes to Cardano's ADA. And I couldn't be happier to be running a validator for Cardano, seeing a long-term future here, above and beyond that of even the 2021-2022 bull run. If we start thinking that actually we're looking at plenty of roadmaps across the board, across many different countries around the world, there's lots of roadmaps that look to complete digital currencies within their central banks by about 2025. This actually coincides with the next bull run. So if we were long-term investors, which myself and Chris are, then actually running a validator and delegating our Cardano to that delegator for the next kind of 4 years or so actually puts this Cardano price expectation significantly higher from where it is today. So really you have to understand what your plans are, what your expectations are, and what you've invested. If you've invested for the long term, then I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised by what's going to get returned as an ROI for Cardano's ADA. And if you're just a short-term investor thinking maybe you only want to be in it for this year, I still have some very fantastic price expectations for Cardano during 2021, 2022. But Chris, is there anything else that you want to kind of talk about on the Cardano side?
Yeah, I think the only point that I'd like to make, Nick, is, we're talking about what we know already, but I'm pretty sure there's many projects that are waiting in the wings that we don't know about yet. And this ecosystem is, the Cardano ecosystem is looking to do some wonderful things in the real world, and we're seeing that with some of the other projects that are coming onto the platform. So yeah, it's exciting times, Nick.
It really is. I mean, we haven't really even spoken about Africa and the potential there, right? Because they're sitting on an awful lot of natural resources, right, Chris?
Oh yeah, the resources they're sat on is much higher than a lot of places around the world. So for me, they're in a unique position, and I expect lots of businesses to be moving over to Africa over the coming years. I really feel like it's going to be a powerhouse in the future. And the fact that Cardano is getting in there, I know there are many others from the blockchain industry that are out there trying to onboard people. 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗔𝗠𝗠𝗘𝗥𝗦 is another one, right? And I guess there's going to be a bit of a battle out there because they're going to create a mammoth economy, I feel.
I do as well, Chris. Guys, hopefully you found this update, useful, informative. If you did, hit that like button for us. We both really do appreciate that. And of course, if you happen to be new to the channel and you'd like to stay up to date with those new cryptocurrencies, the hidden gems, the technical analysis and news, then do subscribe. By subscribing, you will be kept up to date with absolutely everything we do here. It is free. You'll stay well informed. So why not? With that said, done and out of the way, guys, we hope you have a fantastic day and we'll catch you in the next one.
Yeah, take care.